Hello, and welcome to the Data Studio Jupyter Notebooks video module, which is a part of the 7 Bridges onboarding lesson. While watching this video, please keep in mind some key concepts. Data Studio on the CGC allows you to perform analyses directly where your data lives. Data Studio allows you to save outputs of the analyses to your projects on the CGC. For this example, we'll be using Jupyter Notebooks in Python as the computational environment. And lastly, Data Studio is tightly integrated with the CGC. At the end of the video, you should be able to create a new Data Studio instance using the Python environment, import a file from your CGC project, modify and save that file to your CGC project. For this video, I will demonstrate the following. I'll navigate to Data Studio, then I'll create a new Data Studio instance using the Python environment. 3. I'll import a file from the CGC project. And 4. I'll modify and save that file back to the CGC project. Before we begin, I'd like to provide some clarification. The file structure on the 7 Bridges platform looks like this. We have SB Genomics, and then from there we have output files, projects, and workspace. Project files is where your files are located and can be accessed from. However, this is read-only, not writable. Output files is write-only, not readable. So you can save files to this directory and they will show up in your files view. And lastly, Workspace is the special directory created for interactive sessions. This is where you will save your markdown files. This directory is read and write, but files here are not accessible to apps. With that said, any files you want to interact with from your CGC project will be read in from project files. And any file you want to save back to your project for future interaction will be saved to output files. Both of these can be accessed from the Files tab using the GUI. You can see the main dashboard page for our Data Studio demonstration. If we navigate to the Files tab, you can see that I've preloaded this project with a breast cancer dataset. Now this is a simple generated dataset that is in Excel format. The first step is to navigate to Data Studio. So the first thing you'll need to do is create a new analysis. Once we click this button, you'll see many environment options that appear. We have Jupyter Lab Notebooks, which is a Python environment, RStudio, Galaxy, SAS, and more. Now for each one of these that you select, different options appear. So I'm going to select Jupyter Lab, and the first thing we want to do is give this analysis a name. For this demo, I'm going to call this a Python demo. Next, we can modify our environmental setup if that's something that you would like to do. We have different versions of Python available, including a TensorFlow version for any kind of machine learning or AI. All right, we can modify the attached storage if we desire. And then lastly, and one of my favorite features is the suspend time. So what this says is that after 30 minutes of inactivity, our instance will automatically close and save. You don't have to worry about loading up additional costs or anything like that. So it automatically would turn off. If you'd like more information, you can also click on the question mark button next to any of these features. Once we're ready, we'll click Start, and an instance will be initialized. You'll be taken to a new space, and here you are presented with many different options. So we can open a notebook. This is where you get the Jupyter Notebooks. You can use the console if that's something that you are needing to do. And then we have some additional features too, such as opening and working with Julia files, markdowns, or terminal. For this demo, I'm just going to open up a Jupyter Lab notebook. So I'll click on Notebook to start a new one. Here's what it looks like when you open a notebook using Jupyter Labs. So you'll have the typical options along the top here. You can interact with File, where you can open multiple tabs, or import something using a path or URL. Again, we have Edit to undo or redo operations, things like that. View for managing extensions, table of contents, and other features. So these are the typical ones that are found with Jupyter notebooks. And to actually interact with our CGC project, all we need to do is import the file into our notebook. So the first thing I'm going to do is paste this code. And line by line, essentially what we're doing is importing pandas. And then from here, we're using pandas to read our Excel spreadsheet. And if you recall, this Excel spreadsheet is just breast_cancer. So we're calling this spreadsheet df for data frame. And then finally, we're using the command df to call upon this spreadsheet. So I'm using Shift and pushing Enter. And from here, you'll see that the spreadsheet loads directly in our Jupyter notebook. And you can interact with it. You'll see that it has 569 rows and 31 columns. Now let's say you've modified this Excel sheet however it is you'd like to, and you'd like to save it back to your CGC project. We'll use the following command. This is dataframe to Excel. And I'd like you to pay particular attention to the path here that we are specifying. So when reading in the original file, we went to sbgenomics/project files, and then the name of the file, breast_cancer. To write back to our CGC project, we'll need to write to sbgenomics/output files. So that's output-files/ whatever you'd like to name it. Again, I'm just going to name it breast_cancer_python so that we can differentiate it from the original file. Once we're ready, again, we'll execute this command, and this will save to our CGC project. So once you're ready, remember to hit stop at the top right corner to save and stop this instance. It will ask if you are sure, and click confirm, and you'll be taken back to the CGC main space. You'll notice that we have our Python notebook here available in the workspace, so you can load that directly to see exactly what was done, as well as the output here, which we have the breast_cancer_python Excel. And again, if you go to files, you can see this output file as well. So here we have the one from the R demonstration, and then the latest one here using Python. Some key takeaways from this video are: 1. RStudio on the CGC allows you to perform analyses directly where your data is using your preferred compute environment. 2. RStudio on the CGC allows you to save outputs of analyses to your projects on the CGC. And 3. The CGC Python Jupyter Notebook works just as it does on your local machine, but with tight integration to the CGC. Our next video in the module list is RStudio SaaS.